spells and incantations to ward off evil spirits and demons in the afterlife. A practice that was part of every Egyptian's life a few thousand years ago. It was called the Book of the Dead. And those who could afford it would pay so much money to have their own Book of the Dead written for them, which consisted of magic spells and sayings and things that you had to use and memorize and say and present and shown in the books and the writings, that these secret names and codes and magics, arts and spells and potions and good luck charms and bracelets and necklaces and all these things, rabbit foots, to ward off these evil spirits, these demons that were encountered in the underworld. And but is that necessary according to Judeo-Christian beliefs? Because although they did have what seemingly was, or was used as an instrument of sorcery at later times, and Hezekiah had it destroyed, but it was Netushtan. It was a bronze serpent that was on a pole, on a stake, that was lifted up in the wilderness to ward off these being bitten by these, or to actually to heal the Israelites from being bit from these snake bites. I don't know if if they were venomous or what, but apparently many perished after being bitten by these snakes. And they made this bronze serpent on a pole, and they lifted it up, and it actually cured many of these people, and also was a preventative for those who hadn't been bitten yet by the serpent. It came to be a symbol later on of Jesus being crucified, but back then it was those who just looked at it were healed and were immune from the venom of the snakes. Today it's used as a symbol in the medical field. So that's why you see a serpent on a pole in the medical pamphlets and medical journals and anything that has medical on it. You see that serpent that's coiled around that post. Well, that's Netushtan. That's I believe that's like an ancient word for the snake, the serpent that was lifted up to cure people of their ailments from being bit. So I don't know what else was used as potentially an authorized, maybe authorized sorcery. I know that they cast lots before God to determine who God was accepting and who God was rejecting. They would cast lots, and whoever got the lot that showed favor was favored. And they, what else did they do? They did a few other things, but they were still commanded by God not to partake in witchcraft or sorcery or incantations or divination. Because we know that the ancient Babylonians, they would take the internal organs of people and even animals, and they would handle them and look at them a certain way and feel them and arrange them and look for patterns for direction and guidance. Nebuchadnezzar did that when he was on his way to conquer Jerusalem when he was the king of Babylon. He would examine the liver of an animal. He would strike the ground with arrows in his hand. And do all these other things to show the way to Jerusalem and to show if they had the God's favor to defeat Jerusalem. But the God of Israel didn't rely on those things. Didn't point to those things as being a method for being guided. He said to look to what the prophets had to say, the ones who were inspired by his Spirit.